4 EastEnders Spoilers, next week for 24th of April 2025. Phil Mitchell makes harrowing Nigel Bates discovery, and murderous Nicola Mitchell panics. 1. Phil Mitchell makes a distressing discovery about Nigel Bates. There's an Easter egg hunt underway in Albert Square, and it spurs Nigel on to escape from Phil's overprotectiveness and prove himself at the same time. When Yolande Truman asks Nigel to dress up as the Easter Bunny, all goes well until Nigel ends up in a row with Harvey Monroe, after Nigel confuses young Hope Fowler for Claire. The altercation leads Harvey, Jean Slater, and Ian Beale to question Phil on Nigel's well-being, and he finally reveals all about his dementia diagnosis. Then at the house, Phil accidentally discovers that Nigel intends to end his own life if his memory continues to deteriorate. Nigel tries to explain his reasoning to Phil, but Phil refuses to listen and leaves. Jean and Nigel have a heart-to-heart about his illness, but Nigel keeps quiet about what Phil has discovered. Phil goes to see Linda Carter, who encourages him to support Nigel through his diagnosis. Phil is buoyed by their chat and heads home to make amends with Nigel. But Phil is worried to find Nigel's goodbye letter, as Nigel makes to leave Walford. Phil goes in search of his vulnerable friend, but he's fearful when Yolande and Jean tell him they haven't seen Nigel. Linda helps in the search, and she tries to reason with Phil as Nigel is eventually found. Phil and Nigel make up, and Nigel reluctantly agrees to return home. But he breaks down, adamant that he wants to end his life before his dementia takes hold. Phil's efforts to dissuade Nigel fail, but then Yolande gives Phil food for thought, and he comes up with a plan. As the week comes to an end, Nigel is overwhelmed by Phil's overzealous, caring approach, and Phil tells Kathy Cotton that Nigel's no longer capable of working at the cafe. But will Nigel change his mind about his plans? 2. Nicola Mitchell panics as murder secret risks exposure. Teddy Mitchell tries to take a clandestine call from Junior Knight about their project, but Nicola overhears, and Teddy is forced to reveal all. Nicola pleads with Teddy to pull out of the business deal, but he refuses, later hiring Ross Marshall to join the build. Nicola is soon shocked to hear the location of the site, the place where Shireen, who Nicola is responsible for killing, is buried. Nicola panics as Teddy tells her that construction will begin this week, and she summons hitman Benji to Harry's barn. Out of options, Nicola tells Ravi Gulati she has a job for him. The next day, Teddy, Harry and Barney pull out all the stops for Nicola's birthday, but she's distracted, summoning Ravi to Walford East and offering him 10 kele for a job. At the Arches, Nicola lies to Harry, manages to secure a customer's van for the job, but can Nicola protect her secret? 3. Avani Nandra Hart feels isolated, and Barney Mitchell rejects Zach Hudson's help. Priya encourages Avani to spend time with her friends, but it's clear they are avoiding her when Avani's texts go unanswered. At McClunky's, Priya persuades Avani to have lunch with Barney, and the teens eventually make amends. Meanwhile, Barney leaves Zach Hudson deflated when he refuses his help with Tommy Moon and Joel Marshall, and things soon go from bad to worse for Zach. With Zach still keeping quiet over the fact that he's Barney's biological father, what happens next? Later, Barney frets when Avani accepts his invite to Nicola's birthday party. Will all go well? 4. Kojo Asare seeks independence. Teddy gives the Knights an update on the Vic rebuild, but it's clear that Kojo isn't thrilled at the prospect of moving back there, and he later expresses his wish to live alone. George isn't convinced, despite persuasion from daughter Gina. Kojo is determined to prove himself and soon lands himself a trial shift at the Arches with Harry. Kojo is excited for his first day at the Arches, and happily, things go well. Kojo bags a permanent job and an invite to Nicola's birthday bash, but will George be able to accept that Kojo wants to be independent?
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của EastEnders Spoilers TV. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại các bạn.